8 tips for creating an engaging brand story. You've heard it before, brand stories are powerful. They help you build trust, connect with customers, and create loyal fans. But what does that mean in practice? What does it look like when a brand is doing things right? Welcome to SME-Hype, where I am talking about gaining financial freedom, making money online, and growing your business. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? And remember, it's free. Let's dive into the world of brand storytelling by learning from some of the best examples out there. The following tips will help you create an engaging brand story that delights your audience and helps you stand out from the competition. Before you can tell a story, you need to know your audience. What do they like? What don't they like? What are their interests and concerns? Get to know them inside out so that when it comes time to craft a story, you can capture their interest with ease. Brand stories are powerful, and they're a great way to connect with customers because they help you build trust and loyalty. They can be used to create a brand identity, and they can be used as marketing tools. Stories have shown time and time again to be more persuasive than facts alone when trying to convince someone of something, which is why this video exists. So let's delve in. Tip number 1. Focus on the core values that your brand lives by. When you think of the brands you love, what do they have in common? Most likely, it's their strong positioning. A brand's position is the reason for its existence and what makes it unique from other brands in the same category. It's also what gives your audience an idea of why they should choose your business over another one. For example, when someone asks if we're feeling authentic or truthful, we know exactly which hotel chain they're referring to. But how did Marriott achieve this? Their core values are pretty simple. Service and quality above everything else, and no surprises. These core values helped shape Marriott's brand story, a story that emphasizes their commitment to providing guests with consistent hospitality across all locations worldwide and positions them as superior in their industry. Tip number 2. Incorporate personal stories. Personal stories are a great way to connect with your audience and humanize your brand. You can share a story about how your product has helped someone, or even use an anecdote to illustrate a point you're making in an article or blog post. Your personal story doesn't have to be grandiose, it just needs to be honest and authentic. If there's something that makes you proud of what you do, then tell people about it. The more genuine the emotion behind your story, the more people will care about hearing it and sharing it. And by giving them something interesting or inspiring to read or watch, their perception of your brand will change for the better. Tip number 3. Be concise. You don't want to be too concise. It's important to establish the context of your story, so don't be afraid to use a few sentences to explain it. However, you also want to avoid being overly long-winded. You'll lose people's attention if you ramble on with unnecessary details that aren't central to your message. Your goal is for your audience, whether internal or external, to understand exactly what makes your brand unique and why they should care about what it does. This will help them form an affinity with the company, as well as increase their loyalty over time, by showing them how the company can solve their problems in an authentic way that aligns with its values and mission statement. Tip number 4. Have a clear call to action. Whether your goal is to drive traffic to your website or generate more sales, make sure your call to action is clear. Make it easy for the reader to take action. If you want them to click on a link, then make sure that link is in a prominent place and has a strong call to action phrase like "click here." If you're hoping they'll sign up for a newsletter, then write an intriguing subject line, an introduction like "subscribe now for this week's special discount." Be careful not to overwhelm readers with too many choices. If you ask too much of them right off the bat, they may get turned off by the experience and never come back again. But don't be afraid of asking people questions. Asking questions like, "What would happen if?" can help get readers thinking about what could change in their lives if they did something different than usual, and often leads them down paths that lead straight into brand loyalty territory. Tip number 5. Use real-life examples. In addition to helping your reader see themselves in the story, real-life examples can also help to keep your brand's story engaging. When you tell a story about something that happened to someone else, the reader or listeners can visualize it in their mind and imagine how it would have felt for them if this had happened to them instead. The more relatable your stories are, the more likely they will be remembered. Using real-life examples also helps keep things interesting, because it gives people something new and different from what they've already heard or read before. Tip number 6. Focus on emotion. The emotion you evoke with your brand story will be a key factor in how successful it is. When people tell stories about their experiences with a brand, they're evoking emotions within themselves and others, and these are what make the story memorable. For instance, Empire State Building Elevator Users Appreciation Day. Let's say that your company just launched an app for users to submit ideas for improving the experience at one of New York City's most iconic landmarks, the Empire State Building. You want to create buzz around the new initiative, so you decide to host an event where all elevator riders can write down their suggestions on sticky notes and post them in prominent places throughout the building. Then, after everyone has had time to see all these ideas, and hopefully get excited about them, you announce that only 5 lucky winners will have their suggestions implemented by next year, and if they can guess which ones were chosen correctly, by asking another passenger what was picked during their ride up or down, from whatever floor they were on, the person who guesses correctly wins something too. Tip number 7. Show authenticity. It's easy to get caught up in the business of marketing, but what you're really selling is to a person. And people are complicated. They have flaws, and they make mistakes, and that's okay. Showing your audience their humanity is an effective way to make them feel like they can relate to you better, which will lead them down the path of authenticity and connection. The best brands show their vulnerabilities by being honest about who they are, because it shows that they have heart and soul behind their brand, as opposed to just money. If you're looking for some examples of brands that do this well, here are some great ones. Apple. In its advertising campaigns over the years, Apple has always taken a humble approach, by talking about how its products can change your life, not so much about how awesome its products are in themselves. This lends itself well to showing vulnerability, from a company known for its innovation and quality design. It also helps foster trust between customer and company. When it comes time for purchases, people feel like these products were made with care, because Apple wants them to succeed. Tip number 8. Good brand storytelling is all about building trust and creating loyal customers. Brand stories build trust by showing your audience that you understand their needs and challenges. They help your audience identify with the people behind a brand, giving them a chance to get to know who you are as a company and what makes you different from other options out there. When people feel like they know a company or product, they are more likely to become fans of it, and those fans will share positive reviews with their friends and family, driving up sales even further in the long run. To create an engaging brand story, you need to focus on the customer. This means telling a story that is relevant to your customers and creates an emotional connection with them. You need to show how your brand is different and communicate its value proposition so clearly that it resonates with people in every way possible, including visually. Final thoughts. As you can see, there are many ways to create a brand story that will resonate with your audience. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just find the best way for you and your company to tell its story. The more you put into your brand story, the more you will get out of it. The more time you invest in telling your story, the better it will be. The best way to get started is by asking yourself these questions. What is your company vision? This is why we recommend that you start by defining what your business stands for and its core values, then work from there to create a narrative that aligns with those values. Once that's done, all you need to do is share it with the world. The important thing is that you're consistent in your messaging and that your story resonates with your audience. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, like, and share with other people who might be interested in this topic. Until next time, I am Lucia. Stay creative.
It's a